When her rich husband died, his family gave her a stray dog. Nothing else. No money. No house. No land. Just a thin, dirty dog with sad eyes. They smiled when they handed over the rope. They thought it was the biggest insult they could give her. But that same stray dog was about to change everything. What happened next will shock you. And the family that laughed at her? Karma came for them faster than anyone expected. Meera had been married to Rajiv for 11 years. He was a good man, patient and kind. He never raised his voice at their daughter Priya. Their home was full of laughter. But Rajiv had a secret. For months he had been feeling weak, saying it was only tiredness. One night at dinner he put down his spoon and looked at Meera with quiet eyes. "I do not feel well," he said softly. Those were the last words he spoke clearly. By the time they reached the hospital, the doctor's face said everything. Meera stood in the corridor holding Priya's hand. She did not scream. Rajiv was gone. He was 42 years old. The next morning, Rajiv's family arrived. His elder brother Suresh came first, then his sister Kamla, and several other relatives. They did not come with kind words. They came with sharp eyes. Suresh walked through the house slowly, looking at the furniture and shelves. Meera tried to join the conversation. He stopped her with one raised hand. "These are family matters," he said. "You should rest." Kamla pulled Meera aside that evening. "This house belongs to the family. You were just his wife." Meera looked at her calmly. "I am his wife. And the mother of his child." Kamla's eyes grew cold. "That does not give you ownership." Late that night, Meera overheard Suresh outside the window. "She has no education, no one to fight for her. Once the property is settled, she will disappear quietly." Meera sat beside her sleeping daughter and made one decision. She would not disappear. The will reading happened 6 days after the funeral. The house was full of relatives. Meera sat at the side of the room with Priya pressed close against her. No one greeted her. No one offered her water. The family lawyer read the document. The house, the business accounts, and the land outside the city, all of it was declared family property. Some relatives nodded. Some smiled. Meera kept her face still. Then the lawyer paused. He looked uncomfortable. "There is one final item," he said. "For the widow, there is a specific inheritance mentioned." The room leaned forward. Suresh stood and nodded to a young boy near the door. The boy walked in holding a thin rope. At the end of the rope was a stray dog, a true street dog, the kind that eats garbage and sleeps in gutters. The animal was brown and white, with every rib visible under its rough, dusty skin. Its paws were cracked from hot roads. It had no breed, no collar, no value in anyone's eyes. They had chosen the most worthless thing they could find. And they had done it deliberately, as a final humiliation. Suresh spoke so everyone could hear. "This stray dog sat outside our gate begging for food. Rajiv fed it like it was precious. He even left a note mentioning it by name. So this dirty road dog is the inheritance we give his wife. Her full and final share from a rich man's estate." The room exploded into laughter. "A beggar dog for a beggar widow," someone called. Another added, "Finally something that matches her level." Meera felt her face burn. Priya gripped her hand. Suresh watched her with calm eyes. "Do you accept?" he asked. Meera looked at the dog. The animal had walked straight to her and was now pressing its head against her leg. She placed her hand on its head. The dog's tail moved slowly. She looked up at Suresh. "Yes," she said clearly. "I accept." The laughter faded. No one had expected that. Suresh nodded and turned away. As people left, Kamla passed close to Meera. "Do not come back asking for more." Mira looked at her calmly. I have received more than you know. Kamla scoffed and walked away. That evening, Mira was asked to leave. She had 2 hours. She packed their clothes, Priya's school books, and a few cooking pots into 2 bags. No one helped. No one said goodbye. The dog walked beside them as they left. Mira had named him Bruno in her mind during the walk. He matched their pace perfectly, as if he had always walked with them. Bruno was a true street dog, born on the road, living on scraps. Rajiv had fed him outside the gate one rainy evening, and after that Bruno came every day. Kamla always hated him. A dirty street animal, she used to say. She never imagined that same dog would one day destroy everything she had planned. Mira went to her friend Sunita's home. Sunita gave them a room without questions. Stay as long as you need, she said. Mira did not sleep well that first week. No house. No income. No support. Priya's school fees were due soon. Bruno slept near the door every night, ears always moving, always alert. During the day, Mira looked for work. She had tailoring skills from before her marriage. She found a small shop that needed someone to sew alterations. The pay was little, but she accepted without argument. By the end of the first week, the owner gave her extra work to take home. 2 months passed. Mira saved carefully, paid for food and Priya's fees, and kept aside whatever remained. Then Bruno began to behave strangely. It started on a Tuesday afternoon. Mira had taken Bruno for a walk near the edge of the town where an old plot of empty land sat behind a broken wall. Bruno stopped walking. He pulled toward the land with unusual strength. Mira pulled back. Bruno sat down and refused to move. She let him go. He ran directly to a corner of the land near an old dry well and began scratching the ground with both front paws. He barked twice, looked back at her, then scratched again. Bruno, stop, Mira called. She walked over and pulled him away. He followed her for a few steps, then turned and went straight back to the same spot. This happened every day for 5 days. On the 5th day, Priya came with them. She watched Bruno carefully. Mama, she said, he keeps going to the exact same place. Animals do not do that for nothing. Mira looked at her daughter, then at the dog, then at the ground. She sighed. Go and get the small digging tool from Sunita's house, she said. Mira dug carefully. The ground was hard but loose where Bruno had been scratching. After 20 minutes, the tool hit something solid. The sound was heavy and dull. She cleared the soil with her hands. A metal box appeared, sealed with an old clasp. Her hands were shaking. Bruno sat beside her, completely still, watching. She carried the box to Sunita's house and opened it. Inside were 3 sealed envelopes and a locked tin box. One envelope had her name in Rajiv's handwriting. She opened it with trembling fingers. She read it once. Then again. By the 3rd time, tears were falling onto the paper. Rajiv had written the letter 6 months before he died. He had known he was sick before he told anyone. He had known what his family was capable of. He had quietly moved money into a private account that only Mira could access. The 2nd envelope held the account details and a card. The 3rd envelope held the ownership papers for the empty plot of land where Bruno had been scratching, a plot Rajiv had purchased secretly in Mira's name 2 years ago. The locked tin box held gold jewelry that had belonged to Rajiv's mother, given to Mira at the wedding, which Kamla had tried to claim after the funeral but had never found. Rajiv had planned for the worst. And the dog they gave away as an insult had led his wife straight to all of it. Mira went to a lawyer the next morning with every document. The lawyer looked through everything and then looked up at her. This is very solid, he said. Everything is legally in your name. The process took several weeks. When Suresh and Kamla received the legal notices, they were shocked. They came to find Mira. Suresh's voice was different this time. Quieter, careful. There has been a misunderstanding, he said. We should discuss this as family. Mira looked at him the same way she had looked at him in the room where they gave her a dog. There is nothing to discuss, she said. The lawyers will handle it. The land was hers. The account was hers. She sold part of the jewelry through a trusted dealer. The amount she received was far more than she had expected. For the first time in years, Mira held real money in her hands, not survival money, but building money. She used it well. She constructed a proper shop building on Rajiv's plot. Clean walls, a wide front door, good lighting inside. She bought 10 tailoring machines and hired 8 women from the neighborhood. She registered the business in her own name. Within 1 year, orders were coming from 3 nearby towns. Wholesale buyers contacted her. A garment supplier from the city visited and signed a contract for monthly supply. The shop became a small factory. The factory became known. Within 2 years, Mira had purchased a second plot of land next to the first. She expanded the factory. She employed 22 people. She bought a car, not a large one, but her own. She moved out of Sunita's house and into a fully built home on her own land, with a proper kitchen, 3 rooms, and a garden at the front. Priya had her own study room with shelves full of books. The woman who once had nothing but a stray dog now owned property, a running business, and a future that no one could take away. Priya studied hard and never took a single day for granted. Mira checked her work every evening. You will go further than I ever imagined, she told her often. Priya believed her. Bruno never left their side. He was no longer the thin, crackpaw street dog from the gate. His coat was full and clean. He walked through the factory floor every morning like a supervisor doing his rounds. The women working the machines had grown fond of him. One kept a water bowl near her station just for him. Visitors who came to place orders always noticed him. Who does the dog belong to, they would ask. Mira always smiled. He belongs to this place, she would say. He found it before any of us did. As for Suresh and Kamla, the business they had taken fell apart quickly. Bad decisions, wrong people. Within 2 years the accounts were empty and the house was mortgaged. 2 relatives who had laughed at Mira during the wool reading came to her market stall looking for work. She hired one of them. She did not bring up the past. The woman came every day and worked quietly. Her presence was the apology. Kamla was later seen selling vegetables from a small cart at the market. When she saw Mira, she looked away. Mira only walked forward, head level, without a word. One evening, Mira sat outside her shop after closing time. Bruno lay beside her feet. Priya was inside finishing her homework. The street was quiet. The light was fading softly. Mira thought about the day they had handed her the rope at the end of which was a thin, dirty street dog. They had meant it to be her lowest moment. Instead, it had been the beginning. She scratched Bruno behind his ear. He made a low, contented sound and put his head on her foot. You knew, she said quietly. You always knew. The dog did not answer. But his tail moved once, slow and steady, in the warm evening light. As you watch this to the end, receive these words with an open heart. May every hand that closed against you be forced to open in respect. May every voice that called you worthless watch in silence as your name is spoken with honor. May the years you spent struggling in quiet become the foundation of a life so full that even your enemies cannot deny it. May your children never know hunger or rejection. May those who were loyal in your darkest season be rewarded greatly. Rise in dignity. Walk in peace. And may your ending be far greater than your beginning ever promised.